Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FTGU Media Show. I'm your host, Laura, and today I am so freaking excited because my guest is a gentleman who I have met on Clubhouse a number of months ago. So I feel like I already know him, although I've never actually seen him in the flesh or without just a picture and his audio over it. And this guy, I got to tell you, I might not have known him, but I feel like I've always known of him because I've known his work for so long. He is the brains and behind the Ryan Serhant brand. If you don't know who Ryan Serhant is, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. He's everywhere. He's a real estate agent in New York City. He is the star of a number of TV shows. And I know he's also producing a lot of his own content and his own TV shows himself. And so check Ryan out. But we actually have the brains behind that machine, Rafael Angarita, which is like margarita without the tequila. Rafael, thanks so much for joining us today.
You got it. Thank you so much, Laura. I'm excited to be here. And to your point, I mean, we're able to meet on Clubhouse and interacted a ton, built a lot of rapport. And now we're almost seeing each other in person, and we're so much closer than we were in January. And hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have you in New York City.
I feel like I could touch you through the screen here, but you're right. Well, next time I can get on a plane, I'm definitely coming to New York City. So really appreciate you being with here. I know you're so busy. Ryan's a crazy and busy guy, and I know you're up to so many things with him. So I really appreciate your time. I kind of want to take us back. The reason why I wanted you on the show here is because for people who know what I do here, I'm actually work for a real estate company. I'm a real estate agent, and my business partner, Jazz Takar, who some of you may know, a couple years we decided to really dive deep and go in on his own personal branding. And we were thinking, how can we get the word out about what it is that he does and help educate people at the same time on buying, selling, and investing. And so in about 2018, we decided to double down on him and build a personal brand versus the company brand. And that worked so well for us because people could really connect with Jazz on a personal basis, right? And I know you're doing the same here with Ryan. So can you take me back here and tell me a little bit about how you've seen the trajectory of Ryan's career, how content's really helped him do that?
I mean, it's the way that he's able to amplify his message, building out that followership that then turns into essentially brand ambassadors and supporting everything that he's doing. It's been, a huge, huge factor in the success of the brand and has really fueled what he's building, which then, kind of puts me in a situation to leverage all those assets to then amplify the message just a little more and continue building. Content has really been the fuel of everything that Ryan is up to and everything that we're doing when it comes on both sides of the spectrum. So for anyone that's not familiar, Sirhant, the company that Ryan founded, was or is a real estate brokerage, but we are a media company at the core. Like, we're creating stories around the different real estate projects that we're selling, as well as providing education through the Sell Like Sirhant brand. And we're basically building out so much original content, not only for entertainment purposes and for marketing purposes, but also to educate and build a community of real estate agents all around the world. It's something that a lot of people kind of see it as a bit of an intimidating barrier for them to go out and create for themselves and leverage that to build out that personal brand. But in today's world is almost a requirement. And whoever is not doing it is leaving money on the table and is really missing out on opportunities.
I completely agree with you. I mean, I get the feeling a lot of naysayers would probably say, well, Ryan had this incredible platform. He's on a TV show. And so that's really where it started for me. I'm just an agent working in some small market. That doesn't necessarily apply. And I really want people to think outside the box here, because what we did with Jazz's brand, Jazz is not on some TV show, but when you go in with the goal of really wanting to educate and provide value to your clients, what we found is that the sale after that's easier because they see Jazz's face on YouTube, they hear his voice on every podcast platform. They see him on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook every day, multiple times a day. They're getting these messages and listening to Jazz educate them. And then when they actually are ready to buy, sell, or invest, it just makes that phone call so much easier, right? So it doesn't mean that you need this big platform to start. You just need to get started, and you'll find that the people within your community, they'll be really open to it, and will certainly make the sale a lot easier. I wanted to get your insight on what your strategy is behind content creation, because here, what we did, obviously agents are super busy, right? And Ryan's super busy. We're actually transacting deals. So our team does about 500 plus transactions every single year. And that's in help with myself as well as Jazz. And so we're busy doing the actual transactions, working the deals. And so it doesn't necessarily leave a lot of time for content creation. And I hear a lot of pushback from agents saying, I don't have time. And so what we did here is we were like, we don't have time either. And so let's go from the strategy of producing one macro piece of content, like a podcast, something like this. We started with audio only, but eventually added the video component. And then what we did is chop that podcast up into multiple micro pieces of content, so that you really only had to take, 1.5 hour piece of time can actually feed you for the next couple days in terms of content. What's the strategy that you guys use with Ryan?
Sure. I mean, at this point, it's hard to kind of bring it down. Ryan is an engine. He's been able to build a team around him that does all that strategizing and schedules the time. And Ryan just needs to show up and do. And then he goes out, continues selling $1 million properties, and then we take it and amplify it. So that's really an asset that not a lot of people get to take advantage of. And for those agents, solopreneurs that are out there and kind of putting barriers in front of them, a lot of people focus on, or spend a lot of time really focused around that shiny object, trying to be that perfect content piece, and, editing and the sounds and everything needs to be perfect. But at the end of the day, really done is better than perfect. So get started the same way that you get better at push-ups. You just need to create, figure out your workflows, start making some investments at having a freelance editor at your disposal that you could kind of work with and build out a more efficient workflow. And eventually, you get to a point where you start to see the ROI on those investments and the time that you're spending on content creation and building that brand. The whole Ryan comparison, and yes, he has a TV show and he has all these different platforms. And yeah, I mean, that's something that, it definitely helps, but the TV show is not really what's feeding the day-to-day deal flow that he's working with. The content, the networking, the generating of leads, it's really what people need to be focused on. And how can you leverage content creation and the digital space? It doesn't need to just be Instagram or YouTube. It's really cementing yourself and having an online presence that's going to create business for yourself. At the very least, conversations, which eventually lead to having a client and obviously business.
Rafael, it's really interesting that, given that you're the director of digital marketing for this brand, and your background is probably in editing and making sure the sound quality and the video quality and everything looks nice and it's super sexy and attractive. I'm so intrigued by the fact that you said, look, just get started. I think a lot of people, again, we hear it all the time around our office. It's like, I don't have the right equipment. I don't have the right camera. I didn't do my makeup today. You guys have better equipment than I do. You have a whole team. And that's exactly it. We say,
this is the right equipment. This is the right equipment.
I love that coming from you. So anyone who's listening or watching, this is somebody who is probably very, very meticulous on the quality, but he also understands at the end of the day, it's about the quantity. You got to put it out there, and the quality really will come through the quantity. Just by doing it, you're going to get a little bit better each day, right?
For sure. And like, a good metaphor is like, you can't expect a high school kid that's, has ambitions to play in the big leagues to bypass college, and like that's that phase of the training. So meaning that there's levels. You have to like level up little by little, continue practicing the craft, improving your workflows, and slowly but surely, I mean, you'll get to that place where you're just excited. The production value is high to your expectations, but you have to get started. You can't expect to start creating, Marvel films on day one. You have to start making some impromptu videos that just go on your stories, live for 24 hours, and then you do another one and another one. And that, by video number 100, you'll be just leap years ahead of where you started. Yeah. As long as you're looking for ways to improve and just be 1% better every day.
Yeah, I that's such a great point. I feel like people, they compare their first video to Ryan's 60,000 video or Jazz's, 1,000 video, right? You're starting where you're starting. We all started off bad. Like, I still get nervous. I still get nervous to turn the camera on. I still get nervous to put my phone up in front of my face. But at the end of the day, you got to just put it out there, because quite frankly, people aren't thinking about you as much as you think you did. You put that thing up in stories, it's gone. Once someone saw it, yeah, they might judge you for a couple seconds, but then it's gone, right? So you're never going to get the feedback unless you try. So that's a great point. Rafael, sure. I was watching a masterclass over the weekend, and there was a gentleman named David Carson. He's a digital market designer, and his class was kind of about where you draw inspiration from. I was so intrigued by this gentleman because he really draws inspiration from everywhere and anywhere. So it might be he gets off the elevator and he really likes how, it's third floor, and he likes how that hotel wrote the third floor, and he'll take a picture of it. And it's just about maybe the way the grass looks in a shadow. He'll take a picture of that. And it started getting me thinking, like, I got to start opening my mind up to, like, what's around textures and shapes and fonts and things like that. And so I'm just wondering, from someone like you, because you're doing so much content, you're producing so much. There's different brands coming out all over the place. There's a new book cover. There's strategy behind him carrying the book around New York City for a while. Sure. Where do you get all your inspiration from? Because quite frankly, we steal a lot of it from people like you, like Ryan, and other people who are doing it at such an incredible level. But where do you get your inspiration from?
It's all over the place. We happen to be in New York City, which anywhere you look, there's someone doing something very, and there's a bunch of people that are just inspiring within the same block. So when it comes to everything that we're doing, there's a lot of collaboration happening in the room. Sirhant Studios is a team of, how many are they? They're like 11 or 12 content creators right now that, are taking things to the next level on every piece that they create. Every new development project that we bring on that we need to create marketing materials for, they're just elevating their game every single time. Same deal with Sirhant Ventures, which is the group that I'm part of, along with Kyle, Sydney, and the rest of the team. For every new piece of content that we're creating, everything that we launch, we're trying to outdo ourselves, to look internally for a lot of the inspiration and just how can we improve what we were doing last time, but also looking at different audiences and different industries. I've been inspired by people in, like, just how cars sell cars. How do they form their messaging? What can we apply to real estate or education, or just internal personal brand building for myself? And there's always a piece of inspiration that you can grab from so many different people: the fashion industry, automotive, education. It doesn't need to just be, what are real estate agents doing? You could grab inspiration from Nike and their brand. Although they're not in real estate, obviously they're selling apparel, but there's some frameworks that apply across the board, and you need to be able to find people applying frameworks that apply across the board. And how can you apply that to yourself?
Yeah, and I think agents...
Yeah, some power tools in the background.
That's all right. I love it. We're like in Sirhant's new office. I follow Ryan, obviously, so I know that you guys are working on the new office space, and so that's quite all right. I think it's important for agents to know too,
I wish I could
right?
turn... I wish I could turn the camera, but to show you what I'm seeing, but it's top secret for now. It will be released.
Oh
in a couple weeks.
You don't want to show it first on our show? We could be the exclusive.
Like this guy is working and stuff.
Tell that guy to give a wave to us. He's on the FTGU Media Show here. I love that, Rafael. So on our team, we have a gentleman named Steven. He's our version of you on our team, and he comes with so many ideas. And I think the beauty of it, like you said, though, is the more people you have, obviously, the more collaboration you can have. And so for a lot of people who are thinking, well, yeah, I'm in that place. I want to start working with someone. I want to have my own media squad, and I want a digital marketer for my team. Where do you think that those people should be looking for people like a you or a Steven?
Oh man, that's a great question.
You guys are not easy to find.
Right. And yeah, I mean, especially right now, the market is so hot when it comes to finding the right talent, when it comes to marketing, media buying, etc. But I mean, it's something that I'm going through right now because I'm looking to grow my team and try to find, a clone of myself to do more, to come in and help us do more. So, I mean, the way that I ran into Ryan was through networking, and it was a referral. I made a friend a long time ago, and I built a relationship with him. And one day, just catching up with him over coffee, I was able, I told him, hey, I'm kind of tired of where I'm working right now. I'm looking for a new opportunity. This friend is a career coach. So I knew that he was like in the space from a recruiter standpoint. So what can you, I don't know if you're working with anything that has an opportunity for, a digital marketer to come in and kind of change up the landscape. And then he's like, hey, yeah, I think I know someone that might be looking for someone like yourself. Let me introduce you via email. When that email came through and I realized that it was Ryan Serhant, I almost fell off my chair to begin with. And I was like, oh my God. We scheduled a meeting, we kicked it off, and we're able to just, form a relationship. And I came in and hit the ground running. So really looking out to your internal sphere, and the same way that you look for referrals from a real estate standpoint, there's people that you already know that talent that you're looking for. So that'll be the first place to try to, and just put it out into your community and ask for that referral. And then obviously LinkedIn is going to be a great place, AngelList as well. And at the very least, you could go into Upwork, which is another way. Obviously, it's just a freelance marketplace. But I've been able to form a lot of relationships before I worked with Ryan and maybe 5 years back. As a freelancer myself, I will log in, look for projects, and I'm still in touch with a lot of the people that I did freelance work for, and develop those relationships. So, you could go into these freelance marketplaces with, a lot of times people are just, set in on doing gig work, but you could find some full-time folks on there as well.
I love that advice. I mean, the way we found Steven was hilarious. I think we brought him on to do some ad work for us 3-4 years ago. And then we were like, oh, you can also do this and that and the other. And it kind of just morphed into this like completely different job. So sometimes when you're hiring for one job, you never know what that's going to turn into. We also find some people, we'll go to schools and do some postings there just to find people who are maybe just finishing up, which I also think is a great place to find people. If someone, like, not every agent obviously can afford a digital marketing director, or they can't necessarily outsource to a company like FTGU Media, for example. If someone's getting started, like maybe they're new to the real estate industry and they're a new agent and they're like, I don't have any money for this, but I know I need to be producing content. What would be some of your top tips for those people to get started?
On content creation?
Mm-hmm.
You mean?
And content creation. Yeah.
Really,
like, should they?
Should they what? Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, where should they start? Would you say, like, just have that camera on, turn it on? Do you think that they should be starting with like one social media platform over another? Should they be doing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the number of platforms needs to be limited to get started. If not, you're going to get overwhelmed and completely burnt out. So choose one. I think for the most part, where a lot of people are spending a lot of time on is Instagram. So, get on a good workflow. It's all about the workflows, because people kind of, sometimes they get started, they make one post, feel good about it, they get engagement, they engage back, and then a couple of weeks go by and they don't do anything else. So the whole deal is really following, and this is something that we teach, the Sirhant brand strategy system, which is really look inside and identify what your core identity is. You don't need to go and be a Zillow and just pump out real estate pictures all the time, because you're more than just a real estate agent. You're a partner, you're a parent, you're a brother, you're a sister, etc. You're friends, you have different interests. You like CrossFit, you like running marathons, whatever it might be. You need to be able to showcase the story through the content that you're creating, and not just really drill real estate down everyone's throats. So, add that human factor into the content that you're going to be creating, and then just get the workflows right so that you remain consistent. And then through that consistent content, you're able to now, you're able to build out what that image that you want to build is going to look like. But it requires that consistency. Without that consistency factor, you're just going to be running around in circles, and you're not going to see the impact of the content that you're creating. And moving on to the next phase will be really leveraging your spheres to then amplify the content that you're creating. Maybe, do something like what we're doing right now. Laura and I got connected. We're having a chat. She's leveraging her platform. My platform is going to definitely see this. Once you post it on social media, I'm going to repost that and share this. And they're going to find out about FTGU Media and what you guys are up to. And then your audience is going to find out about who I am, and we're just cross-pollinating that way. And then just the wheel, right? So you go back after this, after me doing this for 6 months, my core identity might change because I might get a new hobby, or I might, bring in a new interest into the content that I'm creating. I remain consistent. I get another conversation and leverage all my networks, amplify my message, and then just get started. But the starting point is really, as silly as it sounds, is just get started today. Figure out your schedule, map it out the same way that, you have to go to the grocery store and pick up groceries because you have to go eat. You put something on your calendar and you just respect it. This is your content creation time. You map it out. You commit to 3 posts a week. And it's something that should be achievable for the average agent. And then you just respect that 3 posts a week cadence. You stick to it. And as you get better with that, then you start increasing that cadence and continue improving on your workflows.
Holy crap, Rafael, I said give a couple tips. You gave a whole bunch of tips there. All amazing. I really appreciate that so much. Rafael, I know you're busy, so I won't take up too much more of your time. I just wanted to let you know I've been following Ryan since he was on $1 Million Listing. I absolutely love those shows. But what I've seen you do with his brand, you and the team do with his brand over the course of the last couple of years has been incredible. I actually was in New York in 2018. We had him on our podcast originally. And so it's really neat to see all this come full circle. What you're doing is obviously incredible. So thank you for sharing your talents with us and all of your tips and tricks today. Thanks so much.
I appreciate it. I love having a conversation with you.
And everyone who is watching or listening, please feel free to subscribe, follow, comment, give us some feedback so we know if we're on the right track. We really appreciate you. Thanks so much.